everyone, welcome to another episode of rawradianthealth.com, and I'm Natasha St. Michael, and thank you so much for joining me. So today's Tuesday, and recently I received a request to talk about my opinion on raw chocolate or raw cacao. And also I've received a few emails recently of people asking me what is raw cacao and is it raw? A lot of people new to raw foods, they don't even know what it is, or they see raw chocolate in a recipe and they're like, chocolate's raw? So I'm just going to explain that really quickly as well. So the whole thing is that chocolate comes from a cacao bean. Okay, this is where chocolate is from. And this bean is found inside of fruit. I've actually tried the fruit in Hawaii. And so you got the bean here, and if you peel the bean, you're going to get cacao nibs. And so this is the inside of the bean, and it's just these little like dark brown pieces. And you can eat this as is, or you can crush it down into a powder. You can even buy it in powder form, and you can even buy it get cacao butter, which is like cacao oil. Okay, so, and that's also been processed from the bean. Okay, so when you do see this in recipes, this is what it's talking about. And a lot of raw foodists eat it. Now, there's also a lot of controversy with the raw chocolate, right? There's one side that says it's, you know, a phenomenal food, it's a superfood, it's full of wonderful minerals and nutrients and antioxidants, and that everyone should be eating it. And then there's the other side that says that it's actually toxic and it's a poison, and it's full of theobromine, which is part of the caffeine family, and it's a stimulant. And so, you know, there's two sides, one that's for it and another side that's against it. And as we all know, chocolate, it can be, for a lot of people, you know, everyone loves chocolate, right? So it's kind of hard when something is so wonderful and you're hearing such great things about it, and then you're also hearing such negative things about it. So what do you do? Well, my view is you know, I've looked into a lot of this, and especially because of my own personal experience, and that's maybe what I'm going to share today with you, is that when I first got into raw foods, you know, I was curious about raw chocolate, and I tried it out, and I tried it out a few times. And I've never been a big chocolate person, so it wasn't like, oh, I need my chocolate, and I got into it that way. It was more experimenting with it and seeing what it's like and what it tastes like and what I can do with it in recipes. But my issue with it was that I was actually having I was getting a lot of negative effects from it. And the main thing was that it was causing really bad heart palpitations for me, like really, really bad. And as some of you know, I actually was born with a hole in my heart. I've had open heart surgery when I was a child. That anything that affects my heart negatively, it's like a big red alert, like stay away from it. So for me, that was a huge issue, was that I was having really bad heart palpitations. I couldn't sleep. And if I had it for more than 2 or 3 days in a row, then I would start breaking out in rashes and with acne. And I usually get acne on my chest for some reason, and I'd get rashes all over. So I actually feel like I probably had more of an allergy to it. And so after that experience, I never really ate much raw chocolate again. And, you know, I just listened to my body. My body was not reacting well to it. And I do once in a while have it, though. I don't make anything at home with it, but, you know, I'd say once maybe every 6 months, every 10 months, like, I might have it as a treat. Usually the time I have it is when someone makes it for me, you know, like as a gift. You know, I had a client recently that made me raw chocolate, and I have a friend of mine that made it for me before, and you know, so a lot of times people make it for you as a gift, and it's a beautiful gift from the heart that, you know, I indulge in it then. And once in a while too, like when I was in Thailand, I was at a raw food restaurant with a friend, and we had like a raw chocolate dessert, and it was yummy. And so once in a while, like, not a big deal. It's not something I'd ever have every day, and it's not something I'd have even every week or every month, but it's really something I'd have maybe once a year, something like that. I think there's more concern too over the raw chocolate as to what is mixed in with it. I think that's the bigger issue. Really, you know, I mean, with a lot of these treats and desserts, like, you know, they're putting in agave nectar, or there might even be using, like, you know, sugar in these raw chocolate treats. So and that stuff's just not good for you. So it's something to consider, is that, like, whatever you're going to eat this with, like, make sure it's healthy. Make sure that, you know, your raw chocolate treat is made with whole ingredients, and everything in it is good for you, okay? Because a lot of times that's where they throw all this weird stuff in, and that stuff you want to avoid. Also, the thing too is that theobromine is a stimulant, and it's you know, for anyone that's ever been hooked on coffee, you know, it's kind of like the same thing. It's going to give you that high and that stimulation. And a lot of times people that are kind of worn out, if they've got like adrenal issues, things like that, having raw chocolate is not necessarily the best thing for your health. You know, it's just going to make it worse. So, and also too, I find from my experience of being a former coffee addict, I'm scared of stimulants. Because I know what it's like to be addicted to that stuff. And even worse, I know how hard it was to get off of the coffee and just stimulating food. That the last thing I want to do is start picking up yet another addiction, right? So for me, that's another thing, you know. It's kind of like, as great as it tastes, if you have an addictive personality, and if once upon a time you were addicted to coffee, I wouldn't suggest getting onto the raw chocolate, because you're just starting over yet again with something else. So that's something to watch out for. And the main thing too, though, is that on the other side of it is that I've seen raw chocolate actually help a lot of people get off of coffee. Okay, so that's the upside of it, is that a lot of people that want to get off coffee, or want to get off of like green tea and black tea and any kind of caffeinated beverage, a lot of times they'll go towards having some raw chocolate to just wean themselves off of, first of all, the habit of having a beverage, because it's not only the caffeine that they're addicted to, but it's that warm drink that they have, you know, at a certain time every day with certain people and a certain part of their routine, right? So in order to not only wean themselves off of the drug, the caffeine and all that, and the stimulation of it, but also just to change their routine and get used to not having that beverage, having the raw chocolate, either having the nibs or, you know, making some sort of chocolate thing, can actually help to just get over the initial hump of having to let go of an addictive substance. So it's helped, and I've seen a lot of people where it's really worked for them, and then eventually they get off the raw chocolate. And I know for myself, I have to say that when I had quit smoking, raw chocolate really helped me. and it was amazing, because it was not something that I even thought about, nothing. I was in Hawaii when I had quit smoking, and I was with a friend of mine who's a raw chef, and he had some chocolate nibs, and so one day we were just having a few, and I was like, whoa, this is really helping, because when I was first detoxing from quitting smoking, I could barely finish a sentence. I could barely see straight. I was like so hazy and just really messed up. And the raw chocolate, it just, because it's a stimulant, it just sort of sharpened me up a bit and just made me feel a little bit more grounded. And it was not something that I continued having every day. It was something I'd have, you know, every, you know, so often, really not often, but just like the emergencies during, I think, the first 3 weeks or month that I'd quit smoking. It just really helped me get over that hump. So the main thing is that there's some positive sides to it, and there's some negative sides, and it's something that it's up to you to decide whether it's you want to embark on that, or you just want to kind of let it go and not even go there. You know, it's really, you know, the raw chocolate, they say it's full of antioxidants and magnesium and wonderful minerals. But you can also get those things from other foods, or once in a while have it as a treat, you know. But the main thing is with anything, everything should be in moderation, in balance. It shouldn't be done, nothing should be done excessively. All right, so I'm wishing you guys a fabulous day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.